All right, okay, then let's move on to today's lesson. All right, okay, just some basic class rules. Okay, one person speaks at a time. Okay, all microphones to be muted unless, of course, I get you to contribute and to speak up. All right, please turn off your web cameras. If you are chosen to answer a question, perhaps during an oral segment, you may turn it on, but after which I hope you'll turn it off simply for your own modesty. Okay, and of course, we try to respect each other, even though it's online and I have the option of turning on mic off. I would prefer to be, respectful towards you and allow you the opportunity to speak and not have to throw you out if I feel that you're quite disruptive. All right, okay, let's start with explaining to you what your oral component is, as I'm sure many of you enjoy this part because this is a segment of the paper that you basically do not have to prepare for. Right, so we have the reading aloud section, which is 10 marks. Okay, it consists of a passage, okay, as well as your stimulus-based conversation, which is usually about, you have different visuals, right? And then it will total up to 20 marks. You'll be given one topic broken into 3 different questions. Okay, and of course, we all know that the passage as well as the picture or the visual for that matter, right, are usually interlinked. Okay, so it's connected by a broader theme. All right, if you've got any questions, could you just ping me on the chat and I'll try my best to address them later. Okay, Dash, could you put down your hand there? It's a bit distracting. All right, now, what is the purpose of your reading aloud section, right? Okay, we all know reading aloud demonstrate that you've got good pronunciation, clear articulation, right? As well as you properly and appropriately intonate the different parts of the passage in order to convey the information, right? Information, ideas, and feelings in a passage. So basically, you're given a text, right? And you're supposed to demonstrate that you understand the purpose of the text. Okay, so your end result is supposed to come up with a well-paced, fluent reading of a passage, right? Okay, this is, I'm sure you know what the requirements are. It's whether we can get our ideas, we can get the way we read aloud accurately across. Okay, articulation basically is how you pronounce certain words, whether your D's, your T's, your S's, right, are pronounced properly while you are reading the passage. Okay, and this is actually taken off SEAB, the Singapore Examination Assessment Board, which is going to be grading or setting your PSLE paper, right? For reading aloud sections, candidates are assessed on their ability to pronounce and articulate words clearly, as well as your ability, right, all of you, your ability to read fluently with appropriate expression and rhythm. So for example, if you're reading a newspaper report, you don't read it in like a ha-ha, hee-hee manner, you're not overly cheerful, right, and you address the context of the passage. Okay, if you're reading, for example, a story that is a little bit more interesting, right, you will have to address it in a more interesting manner, right? You put some expressions here and there, especially if there's dialogue, and you'll be able to engage the listeners more effectively. Okay, now any questions, as I've mentioned, just ping me on the chat and I'll address them later. All right, okay, before we even go into any passage, we're going to deal with an acronym, okay, that helps you remember what are the tips you're supposed to use when you have a passage in front of you. Okay, so always remember to ace the oral passage. What does that actually mean? Right, when you have A, to have appropriate intonation. So for example, in a passage you have different moods of a passage, right? So you have to intonate properly, when it's going up, when it's a question, you ask, have you eaten? That sort of intonation that will be more appropriate for the text that you've been given, right? Different stress, different pace, different pauses. Okay, when you speak, make sure that you, as best as you can, try to have clear pronunciation. Now that's the C for the ACE. Okay, and for your E, we're dealing with expressiveness, right? Which is how well you express yourself when you're dealing with the text. Okay, any questions so far? Okay, please just ping the chat, yeah? If I'm going too fast, you can also tell me so that I will slow down a little bit. Okay, now remember students, when you're dealing with expressiveness, right? Okay, as best as you can, try to be more expressive. What does that mean? Really try to imagine the context of the characters that you are reading or you're trying to simulate, right? Okay, and put yourselves in their shoes as they deliver a message. Pretend to be the character and speak like how the character is feeling, right? So at the end of the day, if your character is happy and bubbly, please don't read it in like a very, very boring, very, very monotonous manner, because it doesn't communicate the proper mood, intention of the text. Okay, now stress or emphasize on some words to show their emotions. So for example, if you're playing a character of a mother who's very angry, for example, Dash, why didn't you do your homework, right? You have to emphasize that she's angry. You cannot be saying, Dash, why didn't you do your homework? It doesn't sound like she's angry, right? It sounds like she's like tired. Which I'm pretty sure she will be if she keeps nagging you to do your work, right? But that's basically what I mean, right? To basically stress and emphasize on some words to demonstrate your emotion. Okay, try to maintain your pace. Do not read too fast. This is so that you can relay the emotion and thoughts of the words more clearly. That's basically what it means. Okay, make sure your pace is, adequate, right? Not too fast, not too slow, that the person who's listening to you is able to follow what you're actually saying. All right, now, some things that you might want to talk about. Okay, students, so don't worry about copying any of this down. Okay, we will upload these slides later. Okay, so just focus on listening to me, because then you'll be able to absorb better. Okay, these slides, I repeat again, will be uploaded. So please you don't need to desperately try to copy anything down. Okay, now things that you need to ask yourself just quickly to go through with you, right? What kind of passage is it about, right? Is it sometimes about an announcement? Do you want to try to relay information? Is it a speech? Right? Okay, is someone going to be talking about something, or is it a report? Therefore, all these questions will help determine how you actually read the text. Okay, now what is the purpose of the text? So is it about asking, is it about someone asking for help, in directions, maybe asking to appeal to maybe for a lost dog, right? Situational writing, you have that kind of situations, right? Is the text actually telling a story? So you have to remember what is crucial over here so that you'll be able to read the text properly. Okay, so whenever you think of all these different scenarios, right, it should translate to how you sound when you're asking for, or reading out the text, right? How should I sound when I'm asking for help? How should I sound when I'm telling a story? Okay, please remember, students, you need to remember who is the text for. At the end of the day, you're delivering the text, right? Of course, to your examiner, but who is the main passage actually meant to be delivered to, right? Is it for a group of students? Is it for a group of teachers? Is it a speech, right? Who is your targeted audience? You need to remember that, right? So who is the text for? Is it an announcement for pupils, or is it just a fiction text? Okay, now remember, students, how should I sound when I address the pupils, right? If it's in a more friendly, in a more jovial manner. Of course, if you're addressing teachers, then it becomes a little bit more serious, right? How should I sound when I'm reading a story? So the different contexts actually help determine how you actually relay the passage, how you relay the reading to the relevant parties, okay? And in this case, translated will be to your examiner. All right, all okay so far? Give me a thumbs up if you're okay. Excellent, thank you very, very much, all of you, for responding. Okay, you can put down your thumbs up. Okay, just some final tips, right? To have clear and consistently good pronunciation. Appropriate intonation, not have any hesitations, because remember, students, you are given about 5 minutes to prepare for the text as well as the picture. Use those 5 minutes wisely, right? Look at it, okay, and as best as you can, speed read challenging portions of the passage, right? Read it aloud, okay? Nobody's gonna listen to you, so just use the opportunity to tricky words, especially tricky sentences. Sometimes it can be like a tongue twister, right? Sometimes the names can be all S's or all T's or something like that, and you're like, your tongue will just go and go and go, right? So in this case, try to avoid, stumbling upon the words, right? Stumbling over the words when you're actually delivering your actual reading to your examiner. So practice aloud before your exam itself. Okay, take note of the context of the passage. Okay, remember exactly why you're reading. Okay, and use the context to help you effectively convey information, ideas, and ideas and feelings in the passage. Okay, make sure that you actually deliver your ideas properly. Okay, now imagine that you're telling a story to your friends. Okay, so we're going into our practice now already. Okay, can we just I'll put our hands down, please. Thank you. Okay, read the story aloud so that your friends will actually enjoy listening to you. Okay, so I'm going to select students to read according to the different colors of the text. Do I have any volunteers who would like to read for me? You can put up your hands, okay, so I can, know who is interested. Okay, very good. We have Pranshu.